charges from bail and prison afterwards. You just get caught in control.
I'm a soldier, I follow orders. I swore an oath to corporate headquarters, and I look out for me. To serve and protect, not the whole community, but my brothers in the fraternity. 'Cause I'm a soldier, I follow orders, protecting corrupt pedophiles, holding offers, and I look out for me, and I look out for me. A line of cocaine just to get me through my day. I can't afford morality, 'cause I'm a soldier, I follow orders, I train to hurt people, you're old, your sons and daughters, and I look out for me, and I look out for me. It's all I've ever known. They would take my power away. I'd rather be a whip than a slave. Oh, 'cause I'm a soldier, I follow orders, I'm here to implement the New World Order, and I look out for me, and I look out for me, and I look out for me, and I look out for me.
A lot of our short history has been captured by people who never get known. I don't know who shot the Mary footage of the old lady being pepper sprayed, but I do know I have met the person who shot. Let's see if this plays.
This is what you call Mad Max hits Canberra. It's going to be an interesting one. We're going to go all the way to Parliament in this. Scott Morrison, here we come.
And of course, we'll play some more. This is the truck that had the window broken, now the police own. I was at Canberra following the case, and there I met the videographer, Rob Reed, or Bob Red, and he's going to come on now. He's a great witness, actually, but let's bring him on.
How are you, buddy?
Good, man. So what were you doing before you ended up filming some of these quite heated events? What were you doing up to that?
I was always a bit of a conspiracy theorist, so going way back into the 90s. Yeah, did the old UFOs and all of that sort of stuff. JFK was obviously a big one there. Follows Alex Jones. So, yeah, I've been into it for about 30 years. I guess I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy realist, I like to say.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because way back then, so this was like, late 90s then was Alex Jones talking about Jeffrey Epstein before he actually got arrested and charged. I'm pretty sure he was the one who coined the term, the Lolita Express for his plane. And so, yeah, way back was watching all of that. And then because of all that, by 2016, Alex Jones was supporting Trump when he was first running for president. So because of that, we sort of then were following Trump and got it right into that. And then through that, with the next one was then the QAnon thing. So that got us into QAnon, was originally following Alex Jones and then Trump. And from that, then obviously the lockdown started. And so we originally started just in, it was my mate, two mates and myself, but the other main guy who you'll see in probably some of the videos, Bradford, and people probably know him from some of our stuff. And so then we started just going to all the Canberra protests, right from the beginning. So there was only like a couple of hundred of us, all that sort of stuff. Even went to like Black Lives Matter and a few of those things, just anything we could. And then obviously the big Canberra protest. Now, leading up to that, the way we met Aussie Cossack was, funny enough, we'd come up to Sydney and we're doing either the protests or the political party. And I think it was when the Aussie Cossack or Simeon Boykoff was running for Australia One or one of those. And one of the things, we filmed him from behind the scenes and made a little video, and he loved it. So he hit me up and said, "Oh, I'm going to be in Canberra for the big one. Can you film for us?" I went, "Sure, no worries." So my other mates, they were on the main stage doing all that filming, and then I followed him around for the day. And in hindsight, probably wish I hadn't. But that was a very...
You got the scoop. G'day, Stefan. You got the scoop.
G'day, Stefan. G'day, Steph. Linda, great to see you. Definitely got the scoop and was there for the whole thing. But unfortunately, I think a lot of the blame needs to go on Cossack for sort of manipulating the situation. He was obviously after content and that sort of stuff. You know what he was like. His whole channel was riling up the police and being the smart ass larrikin.
Yeah, but to be honest, every movement has its different characters, and I like the Cossack because the Cossack, he's a showman. He's the ringleader. Oh. If you get him in a situation like this, he's got the stature, he's got the nous, he's constantly there, he's cheeky. So when he saw the big black truck, he says, "I'm riding into there on that big black truck."
On that truck, yeah. Oh, you can't blame him. It's definitely...
I don't think he thought this truck was going to get attacked or anything like that. He was just going to ride in and go, "I'm here." And, but here's where we're at.
Here's where we're at, yeah.
When you were filming that, did you realize that, okay, this is going to be really special? Or was the point when you thought, holy shit, when sort of they started attacking the truck?
Yeah, at the beginning, it was just seemed like, it would be great content and it was all, great to see. It wasn't until when we got up the top of the hill and the police just turned nasty. Like your little Donna, the chick who ran the police thing. He definitely had, how would you nicely put it? She's a power tripper, we'll put it as that. And she came in and the whole thing changed. And it was when they were starting smashing windows and just shoving us all around and the whole thing turned. That's when I went, oh, okay, this is pretty important to film. And I was pretty lucky. I was just right on the scene and had a big camera and a gimbal too. So the footage is good. And then the microphone is, I've got a wireless mic on Simeon, the Aussie Cossack, and so feeding straight into the camera. So that's why all the audio is really good when they're dealing with the police and dealing with all that sort of stuff, and you're hearing all of him and what's going on. Because at the time, as everyone remembers, it was loud. There was people yelling and screaming and honking the horns and all the rest of it. So it's good footage and good audio, just because I happened to be there at the right spot, had the right equipment, as in on a gimbal, keeping it steady, and then like the feed fit into it. But don't think that having all of the best equipment stops you from being a citizen journalist. These days, the iPhone or whatever, the latest phones are brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much point and shoot. So, just filming landscape though, because, from a videographer point of view, can't stand people who keep their phone upright. I want to see everything. It's very frustrating.
It's because of TikTok now, but there's so much missed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it looks so much better in landscape. So for those who are saying, it's like this. I prefer this as well. I know that this is the way it's done now for TikTok and Reels and stuff, but I actually prefer this. And most of the stuff that I did for ages, I've got some Sony cameras now, but for ages, I used to have a Canon 5D Mark II. But you thought, this is just too heavy. It weighs me down, man. This I can get in your face. Why are you here in Canberra?
Yeah.
And a few little mic attachments, and Bob's your uncle, and no one can tell the difference because they're all
No,
watching it on the little screen. They're
that's
not
right.
watching it on. They're not watching it in one of these theaters where what we call the Omni theaters, whatever they are. They're not watching it in
Yeah,
there. How do you remain cool when you're shooting that stuff? And because that is the thing. Because the thing is, you're not safe either in that. G'day, Willow. You're not safe either in that. You know.
no, definitely not. I mean, a couple of times in that one there, the police started shoving us around, and even me, and we're yelling out, "We're media," and it again because the camera's on a gimbal, it does pretty well. You can still see me being shoved around, but and yeah, when the plane, yeah, certainly at that event, but also at other events, after those days and stuff, for the following protests and stuff, the police didn't muck around with pepper spraying people and coming in heavy-handed. They definitely had all the tactics practiced. Like this squad came in with all their tactical gear and stuff, and like camo. And I kept on saying, because it was fun being a bit of a smart ass sometimes. And I'm going to the cops. What's the camo for, mate? You're an urban police force. What are you hiding at? And they got this blue. That was down at the library. That was hilarious. Tragic, but like funny now looking back onto it, like when they just came in.
But that was outrageous how they kicked us out of that library car park.
Yeah. And they instigated problems, and that was their tactic. Eventually, luckily, we learnt the tactic and told everyone, but right at the beginning, no one realised. And what they'd do is they'd attack like an elderly woman or something like that, go and arrest her to try and incite the crowd then to, arc up and start, throwing punches and all the rest of it. And luckily, that never really happened, but you still got everyone arcing up, and and then the police can come in heavy-handed. But after a few times of that, then we learned, and Phil, who was, like everyday Phil, who was down at the Governor House, he'd just say, look, unfortunately, to all the elderly women, they're going to attack you. We can't jump in and help. We've just got to film it and show, like, the tactics they're using, and then hopefully that will stop them. And it eventually did. They went, okay, this one's not working anymore. We'll start a new one.
Well, I'm like the things that we saw doing that way, that we were just even in that the first song that we played, that was by what's his name? What's the singer's name? Cal? Matt Finlay, and even he when you saw that old woman getting done, you're just like in shock.
Sure.
Sure. You're just
and
thinking, how can this be Australia?
Yeah, which is what I thought all through the lockdown. And they started doing like you needed paperwork to cross state borders, and it's like, hang on, this is not USSR. That's what we're growing up believing that was, USSR is so bad, you've got to have paperwork and you can't travel and all this stuff. And it was like, hang on a minute, that's us. How did this happen?
That's us.
Then, and the cops were just unbelievable.
Oh, they were. I mean, it still hasn't been truly explained to us how they became so brutal to their own people so quickly. And why there wasn't so many of them going, no, I'm not doing this.
I'm not doing that.
Because that's what they were doing. They all the violence in the Canberra protests came from the police.
Definitely.
That I saw. I just want to play some footage here that I found on your Rumble site. If you can explain us through this.
Hey, that's assault! Whoa. You want to shoot him? That's assault!
So before we go on,
the police just targeted him. I don't know what had caused it. He was one of the sort of one of the hardcore sort of people that was camping there with Phil and doing lots of stuff. To be honest, he was a bit of a strange guy, I got to say, but still, no one deserves to be treated like this. And so we're all still. This was like, again, the weekend protest after, so it might have been anywhere from a couple of weeks to, 6 weeks after the big protest, where we're still every Saturday, and it was just one of those events. And then all of a sudden, we're all standing around, and the police ordered over.
I'll just lower it down a bit so you can hear.
And there you go. That's them spraying us all with pepper spray. And I'm actually in the background there. This is actually my mate for me. And we had a dog. I asked the police. I bring back some memories. But he actually had a dog, so I came in and asked the police, "So do you want me to take the dog?" I got permission from the top person, and as I'm leaning in to get it, next thing one of the police just crash tackled me. It's me in the
Well,
background there.
yeah.
Yeah, they just crash tackled me. I don't know what. Yeah, they were trying to incite violence all the time. And I always thought the police were supposed to de-escalate situations, not escalate them. But they were
Yeah.
definitely. There you go. There's me getting crushed up with in the background.
Oh, I want to see that. Sorry, I missed it. So let me see. See, and that stuff's vile, man.
Yeah, it's very strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Whoa.
that girl's, I mean, one of the videographers just to the left of the screen there, in the dark there, she was really nice. And she's like an 18, 20-year-old girl or whatever it was.
So you're in the background somewhere here?
Yeah, you're seeing the white shirt with a basically a cougar on. But I'll tell you, I'll give you a warning when it's about to happen. You just see me sort of like right in the background, there's a white shirt and there's a hat on.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah.
Right there in the center there. And so I talked to them, "Oh, mate, I'll take the dog," and I'm there.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
just
I see it. I see it.
And,
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
Mate. And there's little Donna there. You can see her there as well. That's when I turned to her and go, "Are you kidding me? You just told me to do it."
Oh, that's Donna.
That's Donna, yeah. It's like, mate, are you serious?
But you got to admire. I love the bravery of these people. Look at this girl here. This is how we fight back. That's our weapon. That's been our weapon. You know.
And being able to film them, so it definitely.
Yeah. But see, she's just holding it in her hand. But that footage might become. This is what I'm saying. It's just creating. We're creating, or what's being captured is historical footage. People are going to look back at this and going, "What the hell happened then?"
Oh,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah, that and the
Yeah.
Melbourne footage when they started all, rubber bullets and everything.
Yeah,
I think a lot of
yeah,
this, give it for another 5, 10 years, whatever, and when it's looked back in history, it will be remembered as, holy shit, remember that time that, the police turned on their own population.
Yeah.
So much for for the people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
Yeah.
their oath is, but it's obviously for the government, not for the people.
It'd be interesting to have a sit down with them and talk. And can you explain to us what happened? Do you know what I mean? I'd really be interested to know, just for what. How did how did you suddenly turn so quickly? Why? I did hear. We've heard from Craig Backman, who said a senior officer told him in the future there's going to be the oppressed and the oppressed and oppressed. It's better to be an oppressor. Be thinking,
Wow.
no, I know, man. These are profound comments.
Yeah.
You know,
That's. There was an old, I think it was Harvard or one of those Ivy League universities, an old study which was very famous about how they a teacher would tell half the class, or tell the class, sorry, that originally blue-eyed people are more intelligent than brown-eyed people, or something like that. And basically, the blue-eyed people would start getting a superiority complex and start turning on the brown-eyed people. And then after a couple of weeks, they go, "Oh, I got that wrong. Actually, it's the brown-eyed people who are more intelligent than the blue-eyed people." And then you see the whole dynamic switch. And and then at the end they go, "Right, that was just an example of how, humanity does it. How they'll gang up together and pick on the weaker." And it was we definitely
we've seen
saw
that
it
with
there.
the trans movement, and that's what they're doing with the trans. The trans are superior to the rest of us.
Yeah.
Stay protected. And now the state, because of Trump, they seem to have lost their protection. Now they're getting sacked, and they're on there going, "What did I do? I just did a Charlie's Dead dance, and I lost my job. Why? I was just offering my opinion. It's free speech." I'm going, hello. We've been censored for 5 years.
5 years.
It's
we lost our first, 4 or 5 now YouTube channels. Our first one, when we were doing QAnon, we actually got up to like a good, 10 or 20,000 subscribers. We're doing really well. And then it was basically when the media finally asked Trump about QAnon, that bang, all of our YouTube channels and everything, Twitter, everything, all got deleted. but it was about 2 hours before the actually happened. So I was like, hang on, how did
Wow.
you know that this was going to happen? You know, like it was all organised. But
Yeah.
so I lost a couple on QAnon, then a couple on for mentioning ivermectin. Remember when that would get you banned straight away?
Yeah.
Including
Yeah.
like one of them was on that big on the on must have been the before the big rally, the day before or the week before, whatever it was when remember Craig Kelly and Hoodie and all of those, they went into Parliament House and signed that letter.
Yep.
And so it must have been actually the big day. Yeah, so I was there with Simeon as well, and we actually then went into Craig Kelly's office, and I filmed all of that whilst they were signing on the letter and all that sort of stuff. And then Craig Kelly held a press conference in his office, and I was live streaming it, and Channel 9 and 10 came in, but he mentioned ivermectin, and bang, we're instantly off the air and done. It was like, are you kidding?
My God, are you kidding me?
Craig Kelly in Parliament House, so a member of Parliament in Parliament House, and
because you're live streaming, it wasn't saved. So it's just,
no, it's gone. Yeah,
that's what happened with the big march. I was lucky; I was videoing people, but a lot of people were live streaming, and their live streams just everything was gone. You know, I think even Rukshan lost his footage while he was actually in the big group. Yeah. But let's go.
Ironically, the one live stream that they never took down, which I think, as far as I know, is still there on one of it, I think on our Galactic Larrikins YouTube channel, was the day that Simeon, Aussie Cossack, remember when he was at the big rally in Sydney and mentioned the pedophile's name, which was the one thing that put him in jail? And our live stream with that was still with the name mentioned and everything is still up. And I was
my God.
How did that survive and everything else? Isn't that weird?
God.
Somehow that one didn't get picked up.
We've lost so many YouTube channels that we didn't bother with. Now that apparently, I was talking to Topher today, and he said because of Trump, Facebook and YouTube have admitted that they're tilting their algorithms a little bit more to the right. And which means that initially they were tilting it more to the left.
Oh,
because
definitely.
we were just getting pages taken down like boom, boom, boom. In the end, they didn't even give us 3 warnings. They just just gone.
Or it would just all happen. They'd all of a sudden decide this word is banned, and they'd look back at all your previous videos, and you get 3 strikes all at once. Go bang, 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 and done. And you're out.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Hang on a minute. Yesterday that word was okay. Why is it banned now?
And you had we got a ban from PayPal with this badly written. It was so badly written that I thought, oh, this is a scam. You know, it's this somebody doesn't even speak English. I mean, I'm slightly dyslexic, so I've got to have everything proofread before I put it up. There's always so many mistakes all the time. But this, even I was thinking, man, this is really bad. So I ignored it, but it was real, and we're not allowed to use Facebook, banned for life because of our activities.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I think George Christian was in Parliament then, and I think I either brought it up or something, and then he got banned. And then I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not actually funny. And then, but YouTube, and then of course we lost our Facebook page for 10 years, 3,600. They actually said you've got a 3,649 day restriction, and I'm thinking, how many fucking years is that? And it was almost just a smear under 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, this is it. This has really happened. It sounds nonsense, but this really, really, really happened. And but let's get back. You saw the whole thing with the truck. You followed the truck from when Cossack joined it until I think you stopped filming just before Paul got arrested.
I don't think I saw. I'd have to, the footage. I did put the whole lot up, and we can share a link or something or other. I can give it to you later.
We've had it. We've played it lots of time. Sorry, man. I didn't know who you were.
That's right. No one did. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, yeah.
That's what you hear. This is what I'm saying. There's other people that broadcast it, but the people that photograph history, like yourself, this truck thing is going to be there for years.
It's definitely part of history.
Did you think that Paul, at any point, as he was found guilty of by unanimous guilty verdict, did you think that he was driving recklessly or knowingly at police in trying to intimidate or threaten them?
No, absolutely never. And no, it was, I think I said in court, it was more like a carnival atmosphere, like with a float and everyone walking along and cheering and
Yeah.
And I said we were doing like 1.9 kilometers an hour, something, like half walking speed. You could literally walk faster than we were going. A few people have all made the comment, it reminds you of like that sort of Monty Python, was it Monty Python or Austin Powers skit, where there's a steamroller coming along, like get out of the way. It was like, you're kidding, aren't you? They clearly went overboard. And I was shocked. I could not believe that he was found guilty, especially after he told his story and had the entire court in tears.
Well, let's talk about that because you were there. So
yeah.
You're one of the probably about 12 witnesses because we can't let the jury, but you were sitting in there with me. Now, I've never sat in on a jury trial. I've never had a friend who is facing a jury trial. But that, when he talked about his grandmother, my God.
Oh, I was crying. I was going, oh, my
I know,
God.
you big soft
around not just all the women, but everyone, the guys, and even then looking at the jury, they other had their hands in their head and head in their hands. That sounds better. And and even though they're looking at the prosecution, some of them, everyone's just looking down. The judge is looking down. It's like there's no way that 12 of them are going to convict him just after the heartfelt story and to get him emotionally to know him so well. But then also for him to demonstrate where his mental capacity is. Like as he said, he'd always suffered dyslexia very badly and some learning difficulties. And then it had an accident, so it had sort of some brain damage. So you could tell that he's, it's almost like a child in his mentality where it's very, very open and sincere and honest, but also just then, like just looking at the world from a very sort of a childlike perspective. And it's like, man, how could, there's no way. I mean, just from that, I would have thought that would be reasonable doubt, just from just his mental capacity. So to see or to hear that they convicted him, it absolutely shocked me, floored me. I thought there was no way that would ever happen. So
it was like there's a film called Being There, and it's like I felt that's Peter Sellers. He's been he's simple, but he's been being a gardener in this rich man's house, and suddenly the old guy dies, and he has to leave and eventually enter the world, and everyone thinks he's a prophet because he's like Paul. He's so innocent and naive. And so it was like that and Forrest Gump woven together, except without the comedy of Forrest Gump, because you were just watching someone who was completely out of his depth. Didn't know that one amazing thing in the last day when the prosecution, the jury had exited, and the prosecution suddenly became Paul's lawyer, going, we don't want a custodial sentence. He wasn't going very fast. And the first officer, he didn't care at all. The second officer was hurt, but, I don't think he was hurt that much. And I actually said in court, you should have been his lawyer. And I thought, well, I'll get thrown out. But that's what it felt like. So the prosecution showed that they had no case. But because of all the theater, the barrister's robe, all the police coming in with their medals, and it's Paul never stood a frigging chance.
Never chance. And it, witnessing it myself, it demonstrated like how rigged the game is. I mean, one unbelievable. They went on with the court case when his legal team wanted like $250,000 or something ridiculous. So he lost them
$250,000.
$250,000, which is,
and that's the cheapest barrister they could find.
Right. Which is outrageous. Why should it? Your defense. Like what happened to innocent till proven guilty, and then we're supposed to get fair trials and stuff, but yet this cost makes it absolutely unreachable for most people, and it's wrong. And then to see how the system was, where because he was defending himself, then when I was being the witness, the prosecution would interrupt and make objections and stuff. And if he'd had a barrister, then that barrister would be able to ask me questions, get me back on track. Obviously, I kept on losing my thought because of these interruptions, but he would be able to ask me questions, get me back on track, get the right stuff out of it. But Paul didn't have the experience or knowledge to how to do any of that sort of stuff, especially. So he was an amazing disadvantage to begin with. And then, it was absolute tragedy hopefully he'll appeal and
Well, that
maybe-
was the most astonishing part was after the barrister had put forward a submission for why Paul shouldn't go to jail, why he should have the most lenient of charges. You know, either good behavior bond is what they wanted. I mean, he literally was Paul's lawyer, and he was using all these legal terms in this submission. And then the judge looked at Paul and said, "No, Mr. Offe, would you like to add anything to that, or you know?" And Paul said, "I don't understand any of it." And the judge just laughed. He goes,
Oh.
I don't understand any of it." And the judge just laughed at the charm of Paul
yes,
because he didn't even. And you're just thinking, here's Paul, could be facing years in prison, but it's not completely there emotionally. He's emotionally worn out. And you just thought, how can we possibly be here convicting this young man? It was quite clear from the video evidence. I mean, I'll just play this. So this is Paul. Now, what they're saying, how they won the case, is that Paul was driving at the cops to recklessly or knowingly to intimidate them. So this is what a reckless, dangerous driver looks like. But see how he's reacting then? Even that, he's still processing. You know, he's like, what's going on? And he doesn't lose his cool.
no, never.
And he's still trying to control the truck. Look at his eyes.
Yeah,
Got glass in his eyes and everything. And yeah, so I'll say officially now, they're taking the truck off the boys. Because he got charged with these two offences. I think there's one appeal they're going to put in because the judge said that he thinks they shouldn't lose it. But at the moment, it looks like the seizure laws are pretty stringent. A lawyer in Canberra told me the same. And so the truck looks like it's going to be lost. So we're going to be talk about, well, as a community, we can do about that going forward. The boys are just taking some time to think. But think that. So basically, Cossack got him to turn left.
Yeah.
He went around. He just basically followed the crowd. You know, there was a thing that the cop told him to turn right and he went left. But it's a minor thing. You know what I mean? He wasn't in any danger. And yet he's lost 3.5 years of his life waiting for this court case. He's lost the truck, which he basically built himself because he just bought a wreck. And he did it to start a new life because he lives on sickness benefits because of his injuries. And that's all gone simply because he turned left instead of right.
Yeah. And it's all about the police's ego, basically. Because I said we filmed the Black Lives Matter protest in Canberra, which was pretty quiet. But if you looked at the footage from both the Sydney and the Melbourne ones, I mean, the police, that was all Antifa, which was very aggressive and very negative, and there was violence and there was public destruction of public property and all that sort of stuff. And the police did nothing, not just turned a blind eye, condoned it all, were on kneeling to them and all this sort of crap. But yet, for the peaceful protesters against our government, funny enough, you know, it's not a coincidence, were just so heavy-handed and just over the top. They could have de-escalated the situation dozens of times. In the end, where the truck was actually stopped, we were like 20 meters from where it was supposed to be. End up, you know, where Paul the whole time thought, well, this is where the truck is organised to be and where we're supposed to be. So, you know, the police were just ridiculous. Like, why they went so overboard when it was totally unnecessary, especially with this huge crowd. You know, and again, didn't turn violent.
Well, he got pepper sprayed whilst the truck was driving.
So
that Donna woman. Yeah. So he's driving the truck and you pepper spray him, and then they call him reckless. And he's surrounded. I'll just show you here. We'll just move on with this.
That's what you call a win to the people.
Yeah.
What are you pushing me for?
That's pretty much after this.
All right. This is an amazing moment in Australian history. This is unbelievable.
And he's right. Cossack's right there.
It's unbelievable what's happening
You see that guy in the background gets pushed in front of the truck.
Yeah.
These are the police who are supposed to be
But
safe.
what Cossack said, this is a win for the people. It was. We were protesting and we had a float. We're already talking 20 meters, but the police could not let us have that victory.
No.
They got reinforcements coming down here. They got reinforcements coming on the other side. Wow.
It's amazing footage.
Yeah, and we'll just see it now in the background. He starts smashing the window.
Yeah.
Right, basically.
There it goes. There it goes.
It's unbelievable. Look, they're trying to get in. They're pepper spraying the car. They broke the window. Film. Look at this.
Do you think that the prosecution and the judge or even the state just wanted the guilty verdict to basically, because they just could not let the truck go? You know what I mean? It would have been too much face.
Oh, definitely. Too much cover their own ass, basically. Yeah, definitely lost too much saving face, basically. And then the truck itself, because they then mismanaged that, they smashed it up and then left it outdoors for 3.5 years and dragged it off with its air brakes on. And so they would be then culpable for that damage. So I think they, under the table and discussions behind it, there was no way they were going to, not try and get a conviction just to saving their own face. And I mean, overboard reaction. Like, it was just ridiculous. I said, you could have just escorted the truck for, 50 meters, 100, couple hundred meters, whatever it was. Why couldn't you have just escorted the truck another 20 meters to where it needed to go? And everyone would have been, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
No, and the other interesting thing was when they were deciding what to do with Paul, they had the thing of where Paul, one of the charges was that he evaded police. He evaded arrest, which is a major charge. As major as driving at cops. But the judge said, he was in shock. He said that on the stand.
Yeah.
The jury wasn't there. He said, but the judge said, look, he was in shock. And then the prosecutor went, and questionably, he did get out to disable the truck, which saved everyone. The prosecutor and the judge were explaining why it wasn't such a significant case after they'd already worked together to find Paul guilty. And the most astonishing moment, I think, was when the prosecutor gave up to give his closing statements. There he is in all the theatrical gear, reading out this thing for Paul about why Paul's so bad and why he has to find him guilty. And then poor Paul gets up and he's reading and he's mouthing the words as he's reading.
Yeah.
So he's just, you see him, and the jury, there was people in the jury in tears. And that's why we thought he's got a chance here. There's jurors there that are going to say, we can't find this guy guilty. But they did, all of them.
And it's a shame that they didn't know what the consequences of that were, that, for him to lose the truck, I don't think any one of them would have found him guilty if they'd known that was the consequences. Hang on a minute, that's way over the top. There's no way that this is not fair. This is not justice. There's no way.
On the first day, the judge had told them he was facing 15 years on both counts. So they were told he was facing 30 years. They were told that. And they still found him guilty. I know, it's baffling. I understand a few of them would, because there's the judge, there's the prosecutor. Yeah, just tell me what to do. I'll do what I'm told. But I can't believe there wasn't a group on there that said, no, come on. This is madness, Yeah. Thanks, Stefan. Yeah. Yeah, it's extraordinary. It really is extraordinary. And it really highlighted to me that our judicial system is just, it just doesn't serve us at all.
Yeah. As I say, it's the best legal system money can buy.
Yeah, that's right. You're innocent as much as you can afford to be innocent.
Yeah.
And I think this is, we talk about what destinations, where we're going in this. I think this is one of the things to put on the table. That's why I love common law. We need a very simple law system that actually goes, okay, where's the victim? Where's the, I
Where's
think
true?
common law, if we could change it and get back to that, I think that would be great. And even a way, I mean, I was just thinking, bring on AI, get rid of these judges, get rid of these lawyers, bring on AI. G'day, Ron, and a fraction of the
Absolutely.
cost. Yeah,
Well, we
you
should be
know.
able to now, and I think it is coming, and it's things like this which will highlight it and the necessity of it, is that everyone should have a legal AI agent, which can actually
Yeah,
give you proper advice on anything, like whether it's
yeah,
contracts for house sales or for legal issues like this, because the
yeah.
legal system is ridiculous. $250,000. Come on, that is just absolutely ridiculous. Where an AI can be, it's just software, but it's as good as any barrister now. So we definitely need
Oh,
to
easy, better, because it
into
knows
it.
every case.
It knows
So
every case. Take a look
it'd be able
like
to
that.
go back and quote cases from 100 years ago to say there's a
Yeah,
precedent there, better than a barrister and
much
quicker
better,
and there
quicker, cheap,
and impartial, you know?
and impartial. Exactly right. And then the same with the judges itself, where even if you still had judges, but you had some sort of AI overview, making sure that they're within, it's within justice and it's keeping what it should be. And then maybe also looking, like I think all financial stuff should be on the blockchain, so that then an AI can be overviewing that as well and going, hang on a minute, this person, why are you, people like Nancy Pelosi in America. How did you earn 200 grand a year and so you're worth $100 million? How did that happen? So I
Yeah.
think our entire system is on a precipice of a new paradigm where AI will help us and be able to monitor everything and hopefully get rid of a lot of this corruption, and then, like I said, the corrupt police or the legal system or even the intelligence agencies and the like they look Jeffrey Epstein and all of that sort of stuff, where they're using blackmail to control people. All of that now needs to be identified and overviewed by an AI, which is the only way it's going to work. And then
Yeah.
unfortunately, all finances and everything has to be on the blockchain for complete transparency and to be seen, like, okay, because an AI again would be able to view corruption easily. Like, where's that money coming from?
Yeah,
Where did
that's
that
right.
come from? Yeah.
Exactly. Even
Yeah.
it would have just got, the trial would have only probably lasted a couple of days. AI would have shot through it. I can't believe I'm supporting AI, but it's clear
Yeah.
that they're just. I just don't understand the amounts of money. It's different maybe if you're a big corporation and you're just suing people. And I know a lawyer in Canberra I was really impressed with. He does that stuff, but this is like, say if you and I went to jail or court and someone said you got to raise $250,000, forget it.
Yeah. No chance. I'd have no chance.
No chance, Even Paul said they did have some families who had that in assets, but they'd have to sell houses and stuff to do it, And it's all for a truck to turn left instead of right. It's so silly. Can I ask you on another thing though?
Yep.
What's your thoughts on what happened with Charlie Kirk and the effect it's had on the world, both from the people celebrating his death to the people going back to church en masse?
Yeah.
It's quite extraordinary a time at the moment.
Extraordinary, and it certainly had an emotional impact. Similar to like when Princess Di or something like that died. It had that. It was amazing. Even though I was at work and I told someone, and he didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was, but I showed him then the video, and even he was choked up. He was going, "Holy shit, this is amazing! This is just wrong." But from the people who knew him and followed him, what's happened around the world is insane. It's incredible the support he's had. And then personally, it's getting controversial, but I guess that's why we're conspiracy realists. I think most likely it's a professional hit from a foreign intelligence agency, and it's a warning to other influencers to continue their support for a particular country, which I won't mention their name because that can get you in trouble.
Well, the thing was, it's your
their
throat.
intelligence agency, I would imagine, would be strongly behind it. And it is, even though people think, oh, well, it's not the person who pulled the trigger doesn't necessarily have to work for them. they're like a handler. And these days, particularly with social media, but it's very easy for social media and these sorts of things to influence people and then to almost program them. And you can look at someone like Darren Brown. Have you ever come across him?
No.
Darren Brown. He's a NLP expert who, like almost hypnosis sort of thing, but NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. And he did a very famous special in England, because he's English, with Stephen Fry, and they tested to see if he could program someone to commit an assassination. And eventually he assassinates Stephen Fry. But it's all set up, so like he doesn't know, the gun's got blanks and all that sort of stuff, But this guy honestly just stands up and starts shooting him, not knowing. And then when he showed the footage later, he's going, "This is what you did." He goes, "Wow, I had no idea, but now I see it. It's like a dream. I remember it like a dream, and like in a third perspective." And he goes, "Wow, that's insane." And it was, it just shows that the CIA and all these places, they can program you to be the assassination. And this is just a regular guy, like an expert in NLP. But we've all heard of MK Ultra and all those sorts of things, where they went the next level, where you're using all sorts of things from mind control, sort of with drugs, LSD and things. But then they're also using trauma to split your personality, so they can program one personality to be the assassin, so to speak. And
so the other personality doesn't even know.
Doesn't even know that. Yeah, the other person.
Isn't that incredible? Imagine someone turning up to arrest you for an assassination. There you are on video doing it, and you got no memory of it.
What?
Going, what? Yeah. The other big thing we're facing is digital ID. The under 16 thing is they don't give a fuck about the kids. The under 16 thing is aimed at getting us all into digital slavery. What are your thoughts about how you're going to handle that, and what do you think is going to happen?
Well, we saw the beginning of it with the passport, with the vaccine passport, wasn't it? You couldn't get into a pub.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a great, I have to send a great skit as an Aussie guy, and he's talking about that, going, "I always thought that I would stand up against the government, Anne Frank, like I thought."
Oh yeah, he's my. Yeah, I know the guy.
That, goes, all it took of them was stopping me going to the pub, and I'm like, "No way, she's up there, mate. She's right there." We had to do
even that.
Yeah, so yeah, great.
When he did that, I thought that guy was going to become the most famous comedian in Australia.
Me too.
I thought, and he vanished.
Gold, yeah. I saw it on an American program, Jimmy Dore, if anyone watches that.
Yeah.
That, he was the one he played it. I went, "Oh my God, that's an Australian." I haven't even heard this guy. But yeah.
Yeah. And
the digital ID.
I tried to reach out to him at the time. Yeah, go ahead. But the digital ID.
Sorry, going back to the digital ID. It's a conundrum, isn't it? Because, like, again, coming from a background of the whole conspiracy theory for 30 years, where we were warned about this coming, so there's a natural insider, and against it, and thought, no, we definitely don't want that. But I don't know. I'm looking at the options and thinking maybe it's the only way. Definitely wouldn't want the government controlling it. Definitely don't want these CBDs, central bank digital currencies. Definitely don't want that, when they can then control all your money and everything. That would be extremely bad. We want open blockchain ones like Bitcoin, XRP, those types of things. But within that, then are you going to have some sort of digital ID? I guess we really do now. I mean, I've laughed with a few people and saying, I remember the referendum when Australia voted against the Australia card as our ID. Remember that? But then they brought it in anyway. We all of a sudden got a government, what do you call it? A government ID you're issued with, you do Centrelink and tax and all that.
Yeah.
It's gone from me for the moment, but you've got a government ID now anyway. So it's already there. But then we definitely need some way to police, police is the wrong word, but to oversee it so that it's not abused. But it's a hard one.
Yeah,
it's one of those ones where it's the best of a bad situation. Both are bad options. So what do you do, sort of thing? And they're pragmatically, I think, we're going to have it, but we need some guardrails to come in, and we definitely need like some sort of internet bill of rights to protect freedom of speech. but also to protect our DNA and our
That's
brain.
a great idea. What you just said then is a great idea.
Not
We'll
mine.
agree to it. I think, but that I
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
heard that before. But an
I'll
internet
send you some
bill of rights.
Internet Bill of Rights. Yeah, this is actually a mate of mine in America, a guy called Austin Steinbart, who was back in the day. But he has written all this stuff out and it's got full documents and everything on it. Very interesting. And but yeah, it's not just freedom of speech, but it's also our DNA with mRNA and sort of gene editing and all that sort of stuff. It's amazing what they'll be able to do with that. Good and bad, obviously, like anything,
Yeah, exactly.
So we need protection on that. But then the other biggest thing right now is sovereignty over our brain, because advertisers right now, they can manipulate you through ads and that sort of stuff. What happens when they can start beaming this stuff straight into your brain, which is coming with quantum stuff? Like it's coming. We know like DARPA could already do it. They can already manipulate out, send all sorts of stuff out. But when it becomes to the masses and advertisers, when we certainly don't want to be sitting there going, oh, geez, I feel like KFC. Don't know why, but I've got to go and buy KFC all of a sudden. That would be horrendous.
I've had so many people tell me that when they were going to get vaccinated, suddenly they woke up and said, "What am I doing?" They actually, and you did wonder whether they've done using subliminal messaging, because most of us now, like when you watch 1984, he's got that huge TV in his room, which dominates the room, and yet we go, "Hey, look at that big TV! This is the biggest one." We actually bought them ourselves, and then people sit there watching it, and you're thinking, "What the hell are they doing?"
It's called TV programs for a reason, because it's programming you.
And now it's actually healthy never seeing one. Every time I'm near one now, I just like, oh God, I never watched this shit,
But the next level is then social media, where so if you remember when they had the Arab Spring, when all the sort of Arab countries revolted and stuff, and that was done through a DARPA program, which became CIA program, where social media, their algorithms would be able to sort of evaluate everybody and see what their psychological situation was, and then find out what triggers you. I think you use the word trigger. That's probably the word, but triggers you from amp you up, and so they could then put into your feed all of these things that amp you up and get you agitated and all the rest of it, and create these situations and identify people who are easy to amp up. So now the next level will be with the quantum aspect and what they'll be able to do with that, direct brain to computer to brain interfaces and things like that. We need some guardrails before this all takes off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Politicians aren't good at being proactive. They're very, very reactive. So we as a society need to start really getting out there and discussing where all this technology is going, and making sure, I said, like an Internet Bill of Rights, and everything we can do to get some sort of guardrails in place to, otherwise, so we're going to be automatons, completely controlled.
The other thing I want to talk about while you're here, I'm just going to share screen and bring it up, is you did the footage of the time lapse in the camera thing. Let me sort of bring it up here so we can, I'll put the sound down so we can just play it as we're going, and say go from here. How long were you filming that?
Oh, I think that video is actually like 20 minutes, but it's like sped right up. I think about an hour or something I was doing that. And it was literally, I was just lucky that, because I'd organised to meet Cossack, and like he was held up way down the thing. And as I said, there was two mates myself, and they were both over at the main stage, and one of them was going to film this. But I was just happened to be waiting on the bridge. And it was about 40 minutes before the march was actually due to start. But there was just so many people all pouring in, and Anzac Park was full. So there was just no more space. So it literally just had to start. So it started like 40 minutes early, and I just happened to be standing there. So I went, I better record this again, and then recorded the whole thing, and then eventually walked back through the crowd. But you could technically actually work out how many people, if you were like, work out how many approximately across, and then how many we go through. But it was just packed, absolutely packed.
Look at that! Look at that! And
crowd.
then the police commissioner stated there was only 5,000 to 10,000 people there. Look at there's the Vax bus. Look at this crowd. It's
And
astonishing.
I think we heard that like the police had said like an extra 1 million cars or something had come into Canberra over that
Yeah, we'd
weekend.
heard that on the day. Yeah.
And
That's
then
what
I
everyone
talked
says, a
to,
million. Yeah, everyone's trying to put together. We'll probably never know. And Buzzino, 3 million. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the mainstream is still lying to the truth. That's right, Buzzino. Yeah, the mainstream media are gone.
I spoke to
They've
one of
got
them.
nothing to do with us anymore.
No, I spoke to one of the mainstream media. I can't remember if it was that day or like subsequently, and was having a go at him and saying like, you said there was only thousands of people at the protest, where clearly there was hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million people, but hundreds of thousands. And he turned to me and said, "Yeah, well that's thousands." I was like, "Oh, yeah, technically, it's
Wow.
hundreds." Yeah, but it's like, man, that's not true though. Like, you're manipulating the truth. And he just smiled and just went, "Yeah, here's what it is." Basically, it's like, oh mate, how do you live with yourself? But anyway,
Well, I
okay,
wonder if
everyone is.
someone like him, because that's corruption. You're corrupting the truth. I
Hmm.
wonder if you're doing that, if you get to a point where you can't go back, like all you're doing is lying now. You've lost something in yourself, because how, as Australian, this couldn't move you. If you were here, this was being a part of this march. It still blows me away. It was just so many people, and the mood. That was the other thing in the court. The police were going, "Oh, the crowd were rowdy, the crowd were aggressive," but then one of the police officers who no longer works, I think he'd been forcibly retired. He actually said, "Actually, the crowd were incredibly peaceful."
Yeah,
So, and that's all I saw was peaceful people.
people. And compared to the Black Lives Matter, it was just chalk and cheese. This one,
Yeah,
it's families with kids and dogs, and everyone's
yeah.
singing and happy. And
You
if
can
you went
see the
to,
kids.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, dogs, kids, everything, prams, you name it, and everyone happy, and everyone's so happy and helping each other out. Completely the reverse to Black Lives Matter, which was very aggressive and angry and totally different atmosphere. Yet the police to them were great, and the police to us were terrible. So
And these people had already walked. A lot of these had already walked 9 kilometers from Epic
from Epic,
to this. So they'd actually walked all that. I walked it. They walked all that way. That's That's a 9-kilometer walk. Old
wow.
people, young kids, and they still got here and spent the day. Let me look at this. Here it goes again. Yeah, it's astonishing. So
Astonishing.
what are your thoughts of where we're heading? I know I got digital ID, but what are your thoughts of where we're heading, or just feelings of where we're heading? Finally, they're
Um,
gone.
yeah, I'm very positive over it. But it's obviously it's a process and it's going to take some time. But as I said, I think we're on the precipice of a completely different dynamic because of where we are with technology. And this is we're entering the quantum age, or we've entered the quantum age. So the things like, as we were saying, with digital sort of Bill of Rights, and I think energy is the next one. Unfortunately, we've been stuck in this petrochemical world because of how whatever you want to call it, the cabal, the deep state, whatever, the Illuminati, whatever, sort of pop culture term. It's how they've maintained control for hundreds of years is controlling energy, controlling oil. That's partially to do with the petrodollar of the United States, but that in itself then controls all these other countries. So where quantum physics is going, and also we all have known about zero, for want of a better term, 0-point energy, actually the quantum flux field or whatever you want to call it. That has been hidden from us because of this need to control everyone through the petrodollar and the energy system. That's now coming out. I'm being told from this friend in America that there are a couple of companies who are producing, for want of a better word, free energy devices. But you have to gear up manufacturing. It's not that easy just to turn thing on.
No.
They are in the process right now of gearing up industrial size manufacturing of some of these sort of small plant free energy devices. So small things which will be able to run either like a group of houses or a manufacturing thing or something like that. that will completely change how our whole system works when everybody, and I'm not just talking about us, I'm talking about all around the world, so the developing nations and all those sorts of things, as they get free energy. The internet is going to go to Starlink. Have you people have maybe you've already
Yeah, we're
worked
on
out?
Starlink now. Yeah.
Yeah, and ultimately, what I've been told that ultimately Starlink will be free to the world, and people go,
Wow.
how can that be? Well, if you actually think of GPS is a
Yeah.
military system, and it's free to everyone. And
Yeah.
from what I am led to believe, that Starlink will go the same way. Elon is basically a defense contractor. He is a defense contractor for, like DARPA and the DIA and a few of those. So ultimately, Starlink will be given free to everyone, but it will be, the backbone will be controlled by the military. So hopefully they'll stop the everything from the hacking, but also the kiddie porn and all that horrible stuff. It should be able to be maintained. And then financially, obviously, AI and robotics is going to take over pretty much all jobs. Funny
Yeah,
enough,
that
lawyers and stuff will be some of the first to go. So how are we going to then live? I'm told that rather than, like, you've heard of the universal basic income, that
yeah, I
doesn't
don't
work.
buy that.
No, it doesn't work because economically you can't just give out stuff because
No.
it's social. It just doesn't work.
No.
But what does work is a fair exchange of goods and services. And at the moment, AI is the lifeblood of AI is data, and it needs data to run. And we're the ones that produce the data. So what needs to happen is that we need to be given royalties for the use of our data. Now, you can also opt in or opt out. Again, it needs to be a system where you get to do what you want.
Yeah.
You opt in and say, yep, I wish to sell my data. Then all of the big social media companies, but not just them, it's every company that uses AI, medical, you name it, then we should get a royalty on our data. And in that way, then it's what we call a universal passive income, where you're actually then a fair exchange. You're giving her the data which the AI needs to run, and then you're paid a royalty, and then we can live off that. Once we get down that,
that's interesting.
it is interesting, isn't it? Again, these are not my
interesting.
ideas. I'm parroting the.
No, I don't have ideas. I gather ideas around. Yeah.
Yeah, these are their ideas, and so I give them full credit. But this is where we're going to go. And once you've got free energy and all those sorts of things, then production of food and all of those sorts of things are basically free anyway. So we won't need a lot to live off. But as I said, we need guardrails in place to protect our sovereignty of our DNA, our mind, our freedom of speech, all of these different things, and the ability to make sure that, the digital currencies are going to take over, but we definitely don't want a government controlled one, CB or whatever, central bank digital currencies. We want the free one, like the open source ones like XRP, which I'm told will eventually become like the SWIFT network and that sort of thing. But all of those ones.
You don't think there's any way we can stop it? You think this is inevitable?
Inevitable. It's like trying to go back to our agrarian civilization when industrialization came in and said, "Oh, we're going to stop that." No. Or when computers.
It's like trying to get the Chinese to become Amish ain't going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Yeah. Same as when computers came in and people were going, "Oh no, I'm never going to use that." Yeah, right. Okay. Or smartphones or all the rest of it, the internet. Everyone, objects to begin with, but ultimately it's everyone going to happen. And I can't believe, like a lot of my friends say, I can't believe you're saying this, and I can't believe I'm saying this after my background. But I think, unfortunately, Neuralink or a version of that will all go down that track as well. And
I hate to say it, I think it's going to be very hard not to.
Mm-hmm.
And these are really interesting things to talk about, because if if people are getting it done, and then that's improving their skills and they're getting jobs, and someone who doesn't have it's such an extraordinary time to be alive. And it's overwhelming with all the things that we're facing. Yeah.
Now, I know someone just put up about the DNA there with medically. And again, this is one of those, the good and the bad, where we've got to have the the guardrails in place to protect us. But what can be achieved is incredible. If the use of quantum computing and things like CRISPR, CRISPR, which does DNA editing and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But if our DNA is protected, and you're sovereign over it, then what we do need to do is, actually have all of our DNA tested and then crunched by quantum computers and CRISPR, and then you would be able to find out all the genetic defects and then be able to fix them. I know because of the COVID thing, mRNA technology has got a very bad rap, but that was because it used a spike protein and it had some very bad aspects. But ultimately, what will be done, we'll be able to use quantum computers and CRISPR to map out our whole DNA and to find where all these genetic defects are, and then use mRNA technology to actually gene edit to fix our cells. So medically, there's some very, very exciting things coming because of technology. And then again, I think financially things are going to change dramatically, and hopefully for the better. But it's obviously, we're going to go through a bit of a tough time immediately. Obviously, financial collapse. The American dollar has to collapse. BRICS will take over. That's inevitable. Basically, America and all of the Western societies, like ourselves, Canada, UK, all of it, we've all got to go. Our corporations, the countries, all have to go bankrupt and basically start again. And that's where then, funny enough, the basis of all of that comes down to a papal, is it? Who the Pope back in the, I think it was, in the 10th century or something or other. He did the doctrine of discovery, which was then the basis. After that was terra nullius, so it's how the British Empire got to claim Australia, because no white people lived there, so they could claim it. The actual original basis is called the doctrine of discovery. And a couple of years ago, I don't know, about 3 years ago or so, the Vatican came out and denounced the doctrine of discovery and said, oh yeah, that was bad, we apologize, and we're calling that null and void. And that is then the basis of a lot of our countries. So we should be able to use that to then basically commit bankruptcy, to declare bankruptcy, and Australia, as in the entity, the corporation entity, goes bankrupt, and we start again, and we start from scratch. And as a whole population, all of the Australians all then get to decide on a constitution and Bill of Rights and Internet Bill of Rights and how things need to work.
I love it. It's really interesting and refreshing here, different things. I have here Barbara Lockett, Buy Australian Made. I think lattes and cappuccinos are probably the only thing made in Australia anymore, to be honest, Barbara. There's, this is a really interesting discussion to have. We have to go now because of What the Fuck Boy is coming on. So maybe you'd want to come back on for a longer discussion. It'd be interesting to get someone on with you, maybe even challenge you, you know what I mean? Because these are the discussions we have to have.
Yeah,
we can't just she'll be right go into this. Everything is going to change. In 10 years from now, you're not going to be able to recognize Australia now. And here right now, we don't recognize Australia from pre-COVID Australia, where the cops didn't pepper spray all women, No.
Mate, I noticed a difference back in the 90s. I used to be in hospitality on the Gold Coast running nightclubs and casinos and stuff. And I noticed the vast difference between before police had tasers and after. Before police had tasers, they were really nice. They would, come on, mate, how you going? You're drunk. Let's get you home, or let's get you over here. Once they were issued tasers, there was no more discussions. It was just pull out the taser. It was like, Jesus, what happened? But total change I'll go for. The other thing was, someone asked what happened to Aussie Cossack. Aussie Cossack is still in the Russian consulate in Sydney. So a couple of years ago now, after he'd come out of prison for naming a pedophile, because you can name murderers, but apparently you're not allowed to mention pedophiles' names. Funny enough.
Protect us.
Protect us. Yeah. It's protect the intelligence.
Oh, but that one's a pedophile. Oh my God! Oh, I'm gonna collapse.
No coincidence that the intelligence agencies use blackmail and and pedophilia and satanic ritual abuse and all these things as ways to control people through blackmail. And so no coincidence there that that's the one thing you're not allowed to mention. But yeah, so after he came out of prison for that, then the Russia-Ukraine war had started, and he was at a protest with that, and this guy, a Ukraine supporter, attacked him, and he kind of defended himself and pushed him off, and this poor old guy, he did actually fall down the stairs. But because the police didn't like Cossack, they then wanted to arrest him and put him back in jail. So he went into asylum in the Russian consulate in Sydney, and he's still there, like a couple of years later. I don't think he's expecting to be there this long.
No,
But he,
it's interesting, isn't it?
He's now still there, yeah. So maybe once the Russia and Ukraine war finishes, they'll be able to sort something out there. Yeah, but he was the person we needed at the time, I think, to get a bit of light.
Oh, he gave us. I tell him, he used to make me smile when he in these really bad lockdown times.
Yeah,
and he's pretending to exercise with.
I'm exercising, man. I'm exercising.
It was great. I'm exercising. It was really funny. And the fact that he was, honestly, I was a big fan of him then, and I met him in Melbourne when he did a speak. The crowd loved him. He was great, and I know what he did to get the truck there. There's some responsibility, but in actual fact, it was a protest. There was 1 million people there, maybe. There was a lot of people there, and they hardly, I think, like 3 arrests. You know, one guy ran across the grass with it, and they jumped on him. Some other guy was in the jail with Paul. And then basically this Paul. And that's it. Because we're Australians. They're lucky we're not from Argentina or Nepal, or they'd still be, the parliament would still be on fire. You know, we were Australians. We came here to be heard and say, look, you're going the wrong way. Yeah. Anyway, I have to go, mate. It's been I knew you were going to be a great guest. Thank you so much for agreeing. And we'll look to get you back, because I think there's you'd be great on the What the Fuck Boys. Actually, following up next, I'll get Tom Vogel, because those boys love a chat. You know what I mean? And it's really fun. This is the stuff they really love. So take care, brother. I'm gonna. So that.
I was going to say, we have to get this stuff out there, because the whole political system is changing too. If you notice that finally people have lost faith in Liberal and Labor and that sort of stuff, and they're starting to turn towards alternative things. So we need to get out there with, and I said these from the Quantum Party, again, this is not my ideas, but with the universal basic income, or passive income, I should say, universal passive income, some of these sort of internet bill of rights, some of these things, and it will get the young people on board, and that's where we really need to go.
Yeah, I got approached by a Russian Australian with a thing that's happening in Poland about parliament voting done on Bitcoin, not Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin run on? Blockchain.
The blockchain.
And changing how everything works, getting rid of parties. You just vote. But that's a bigger conversation. It'd be interesting to have it with you, because he gave me a book, and if you're listening, I've been meaning to get into it, but I've got more time now. But these are solutions of how we can move forward. We can't stop progress, but we can.
We should be able to, using blockchain, you should be able to vote on your phone, and you should be able to vote on every major policy issue.
That's what this is about.
Everything we should be able to vote on. But anyway, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll talk all night.
I'm wishing we had more time. So we'll get you back soon. But so this is, and look, I wrote the for this next song. AI did the music. I wrote it on the day Charlie got killed. It's had millions of views, and we put it up for free, so thousands and thousands of people have taken it. But this is what I'm saying. This is good for us. We can react quickly, artistically, and it has power. This song has reached millions, more than, say, me doing a speech or just a comment on something. This is a power we have now, that as long as we can be creative, then AI can actually put wings on us, you know? So,
Absolutely.
No worries. Great to meet you again. Take care.
Thanks,
and I'll never forget you coming out of the court, because he's a big fella. And your eyes were saturated after Paul's testimony. I mean, mine were too. I'll never forget that. That was it won't be filmed, but it was astonishing moment when this one man who'd never cried or whinged about the truck, about the 3 years he'd been this or anything else, or his brain injuries, but when he sat on the thing and he talked about why he came to Canberra, which was the death of the lonely death of his grandmother dying alone.
Yeah.
And he just brought everyone to tears. It was astonishing moment. Yeah. You're a gorgeous kid. Take care, brother. Thanks for coming on. See you guys. See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Eli's coming back tomorrow, and we might have a double show. Leave it with me. Might.
It was raining last night. I could hear it dancing on the roof. I fell asleep listening to the beauty of rain. But when I woke, you were gone. Someone had used their hate to take you away. And so the rain of last night is now raining inside of me. I think the angels just might be standing up to welcome you home, as we remain here fighting in the trench that just grew colder. But despite the shot, I know you're not dead. Instead, you're leaving light could become our new dawn. I wonder if when your mother first held you, as all the love you brought was a dawn in her eyes, did if she ever sensed then that a warrior was here, with a tongue for a sword and the armor of truth? For in a darkening world that's being turned upside down, you were a single man that rose until we could see you from here. How many roads must a man walk down before we call him a man? Well, I'm on your road, to try and emulate you by constructing a sign that reads Charlie Kirk, a man passed this way. On his journey to the son who he knew, if we faithfully followed, would one day lead us home. On his journey to the son who Charlie believed, if we faithfully followed, would one day lead us all